Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Informist, as we look to inform our listeners and readers about the latest in tech news in the growing and ever rapidly changing world of technology. My name is Kevin Harvell, and I am also joined by my good friend and co-host JJ Hammond. JJ, how are you doing today?
Hello, sir. I'm doing fantabulous.
Good, good. Second time this week as we move forward and continue on with this new trend of 3 shows a week for the Tech Informist in 2015. We just want to bring you guys more content. There's just way too much to talk about for one hour show per week. As we know, technology changes. New things come out. New news is reported every single day. So we're just going to bring it to you 3 days a week. So always make sure to visit thetechinformist.com/live, and that will give you about as good an idea as possible of when we will be recording. We're going to be striving for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, hopefully around 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. But also keep up with us on Twitter at TechInformist. Follow us on Facebook, Google+, Instagram. We're out there. Follow us. And always, if you have any suggestions for future topics you would like us to discuss on a future episode, email them to contact@thetechinformist.com. So, JJ, things going well today?
Things are moving nicely. Let's just say that.
Good, good. You know, it's still another cold day in St. Louis. I'm ready for winter to be over, even though we're only a few weeks in.
So Kev was over at my house the other day, just to let you know, and I freezed him out.
Yeah,
So I do apologize for that again.
yeah. I think
But
my hands are still a little numb.
yeah,
Getting by, getting by.
between that and my psychotic cats. But go ahead.
Oh, he loves to talk. He was just wanting to talk. He just needed somebody to talk with. That's all that was.
Yeah. Well, and the other one hissed at you, so that was the thing.
Yeah, I was like, "What are you? Oh my God, I have never heard that out of him."
Yeah, it's weird.
So,
Anyways,
guess I looked at him wrong. Who knows?
continue.
Right. So, tech news for the day. We're going to this off with Sony. Might Sony be looking to sell off its smartphone division? Now, this is very interesting because yesterday, from our friends at Verizon, Adriana, received the Xperia Z3, and it's a very nice phone. But it was also funny that the same day that I received that, this bit of news comes out that Sony's CEO is eyeing up options as pressure mounts on weak TV and mobile. So Sony Corporation CEO Kazuo Hirai has weathered a crisis over a cyber attack on its Hollywood studio and its controversial comedy The Interview, but its toughest moment might be just arriving as he prepares a new business revival plan. So they're considering selling off their smartphone division because with as much competition going on with Samsung and LG and
HTC.
HTC, yes, all
Yeah.
fighting for Android users' attention.
Mm-hmm.
Samsung, even though they have some very, very nice hardware and attractive looking devices, they're just not getting the market share. Whether that's because they're
Sony, you mean?
yeah, Sony. Yeah, Sony may just whatever the reason is. Maybe it's because carriers just aren't picking up their devices, or consumers just for some reason are like, no, just don't want a Sony handset. I
Right.
it's really tough to say.
It's one of those things where it's kind of like the way I view pop music. Sony's interesting to me because it's like a good song, but it just doesn't get the attention. I mean, there is a phenomenon, and it's the X factor, and a lot of things go into that, right? And Sony just does not have the um, a superstar wasn't seen using a Sony in a video or something, and then your neighbor got one, or it's not ubiquitous enough,
Right.
and I would argue that mainstream wise is where it's at, and we're seeing that from companies like Microsoft and LG and even HTC. We're seeing that you have to have a large volume of devices out there to see some type of return on the Android front because there's not a lot of return on hardware.
Right.
That's why Xiaomi, the Chinese manufacturer, is exploding with their production and their investments, is because they're able to get fairly nice hardware for cheap, and you know. Working conditions aside, they're able to do what they're able to do. So Sony spinning off their Xperia line or their mobile devices altogether is very interesting, and something that I would have thought would have come sooner. But I knew how important it was to them, especially with Ericsson. You remember them when they had their partnership, and then the simple fact that you have a device that is nice, but not on all the carriers, and not pushed in the store. So you had a problem where, again, carrier exclusivity, issues penetrating the U.S. market because of no demand, essentially. And then once they pushed it, then there was no one to receive, because people just didn't know a lot about them. I saw them on a couple of shows from Sony Pictures, but when I saw Sony and Vaio, the very popular PC line, split, I knew it was only a matter of time for the Sony Xperia, to go ahead and part ways.
Right. I mean, it remains to be seen whether or not they will go through with this, possible sale of it, but it's not looking good. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, I see a spinoff or a sale, I would say. I really do. I see a spinoff or a sale, because I mean that's essentially what Vaio did, and I didn't even know, but they're still making some pretty nice hardware. Man, there's not a lot of demand for it, but that was something that was really. I mean, Sony, phenomenal hardware. I mean, you're looking at it right now. I mean, that's really nice hardware.
Right. I would say probably the biggest complaint so far is the glass back, as we all know with iPhones and the Nexus 4. You're rolling the dice every time you take it out of your pocket.
There it goes.
Yep.
As it's falling to the ground in slow-mo, it's just like, oh no.
Yeah. But other than that, it seems to be pretty nice so far. Obviously, I've only had it about 24 hours, so it's tough to really say a full opinion on that. But
all right,
we'll post a review up on it in the not too distant future.
Yeah, so I guess I'm up.
Yeah, go ahead with your first story.
President Obama would like the United States to have faster internet speeds. This comes as more. Yeah, who wouldn't, frankly? This comes as more and more businesses could benefit from having better online experiences. We all see the commercials for everybody vying for your broadband, monthly payments. His plan would allow local municipalities to create their own network, among other regulation changes from the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission. And so I would say that this story is provided by, I think the Next Web did a really good job on this write-up. But I mean, I think every news outlet kind of had this particular story. What's interesting to me when it comes to what the president wants, it really feels like what most tech enthusiasts want. And what's also interesting to me is that it never ceases to amaze me how many people just want to say no to President Obama just because he's President Obama. If he was somebody else, I'm thinking that this would have been a done deal already. But because he is who he is,
Yeah, if this was like Richard Branson or
all right,
these other people that
Elon Musk or something, I don't know.
Yeah, then it'd be the greatest idea ever. But
yeah,
since
it's because it's him, it's politics. It's like, we can't let him have a victory like that, says Frank Underwood. I've been watching this show like mad crazy. But it's a great show, but it does show how sick people are, frankly.
Right.
And how progress is hindered by, I would say sociopaths. Anyway, so what this would do is. Right now, he's pitching this idea in Iowa. And if you drill down into the story a little bit, and this is what we're here for, is they were able to get 1 gigabit download and upload speeds and all that kind of stuff. So like fiber optics, right? Like that's super fast.
All right, okay. Like Google Fiber kind of stuff.
Yeah, like Google Fiber kind of stuff. And how that's important is, when you're thinking about communication, the customer experience, being able to do more in less time, that is the antithesis of everything that is important in business. And President Obama and others who support faster internet and an open internet and net neutrality and all these kinds of things is good for everybody. When you speed things up like that, I don't need to tell you guys how awesome it is to have a super amazing, crazy fast internet connection speed just for your personal stuff, let alone your business stuff. So that's my story.
Yeah,
You're
with having larger files is, especially as video files and all that just keep growing and growing in
right,
size.
right.
I mean,
4K,
presentations, yeah,
I mean,
presentations can be huge, and I mean, we've got, 100 meg down, and obviously it's only like 5 or 6 meg, you know,
right,
megabit per second up.
right.
That's not bad, but to have 1 gigabyte, 1 gigabit down, 1 gigabit up, that would be
It would be just sick.
phenomenal. I
Yeah.
mean, that'd almost be like living overseas where, they have much faster internet speeds, but
There's two things I want from overseas, and I don't want anything else. I want a bullet train so that I can get to where I want to go in like 2 seconds, and I want because self-driving cars. Let's just be honest, that's not gonna.
yeah.
But a bullet train would work. That would. They're doing one I think from Houston to Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope that goes through, and I hope that it works because people are going to see that and be like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!" So I want the bullet trains, and I want faster internet.
Right. Who doesn't want all that stuff?
Yeah.
Well, before I move into the next story, I'd like to welcome everybody in the chat room. I see you guys are there, but I don't see any names. So hopefully you guys will sign in and participate. And if there's
Say
anything
hello.
else, all right, say hello.
Just say hello. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. We're not going to
No, don't be
collect your
shy.
information and I don't bother you or anything. So
All right. So the next story that I would like to discuss is Google Domains. This has been kind of in beta for a while, more private, but now it's kind of rolling out to more and more people that can get access to that. So now this came out yesterday, and it's from googleandyourbusiness.blogspot.com. So today we're excited to make Google domains more widely available by lifting the invitation restriction for those in the United States. For those in other countries, you can still sign up here, which is a link, to be notified when it is available in your country. And thanks in large part to the feedback we received from our early beta testers, we're opening the doors with a new batch of features. Some of the enhancements include an improved search and suggestion experience to help you find the perfect domain name, over 60 new domain endings like .company, .florist, and .coffee. You can view the full list via this website. A simple dashboard to manage your domain, website, and email settings. The integration of Blogger, so you can create a blog and easily connect it to your domain. The ability to quickly browse website template themes and compare the plans and features of our website building providers, and dynamic DNS, so you can set up your domain and keep it pointing to the same computer even when the IP address changes. So we will have links to all these stories that we talk about within the show notes.
yeah, this is a big one, man.
Yeah, so you can get started today at google.com/domains.
So walk me through a little bit of this. So is this in a broader context? Is this a way for Google to broaden their
Let's
their
just call it
platform offerings?
let's just call it Google Daddy, because essentially that's what they're.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
it's essentially like that. Pricing is from $12 a year.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to look into a little bit more of this. $12 for the first year. 2 years registration costs you $24. You can auto renew your domain every year for the same $12. The only exception is if a domain registration has been expired for more than 30 days, then there is an extra fee for restoring that expired domain.
Oh, okay.
It's nothing really major. And then your top level domains, something like .academy, that's going to be $30 a year. .actors 40. .biz would only be 12. .camera 30.
So
.careers 50.
this is going to really help with analytics, I would assume too.
Yeah, because you figure, most websites, you want to use Google Analytics to track who's visiting your website, how they're interacting within your website.
Bounce rate, all that crap.
Yeah, you're going to get probably the most comprehensive amount of statistics if you switch your domain to Google.com's domain service.
Interesting.
So just looking down the list, the most expensive one I see for a top level domain is .house, .haus, which obviously is German, I believe, or maybe it's somewhere
Uh,
else. So that's $110 for that top level domain.
huh. Well, that's an interesting story. I'm serious. I mean, that to me is like Google saying, okay, we want to be GoDaddy Azure, and we want to have like a comprehensive like background dashboard.
Right.
For like businesses, it sounds like everybody across the whole spectrum. That's interesting. That's
Yep,
really interesting.
it is.
I mean, I suppose that I mean it's a great idea, but I mean, obviously Google had to figure out how to hit that particular market because I mean, come on, it's crazy, for hosting and domains and all this stuff.
Yeah, it can get out of hand pretty quick if depending on where you're trying to get your domain and get your name and web hosting and all that stuff.
Well, we all know that frankly, I'm the Apple guy around here. Apple Watch companion app for your iPhone has been leaked, according to 9 to 5 Mac. Over the next few months, we should see more coming out about this watch. What is interesting is the Android-like controls and notifications that a user can set up on the watch. Very interesting to see Apple allow much more customization to their devices. We remember longtime Steve Jobs and first Tim Cook when he took over Apple, this idea of still providing this we know best for you, the notifications, changing of the background, changing of some of these settings. You would have to jailbreak was what they called it back in the day, and unlock or whatever your Apple device. But now we're seeing new leaks, and a little bit of it is like, I don't know, man. You could probably make these mock-ups in like a couple of seconds. But, and we all hate mock-ups a lot of the times, right? Because they show the very best in what a consumer would want, right? Like I see
Yes.
tons of mock-ups for like my personal favorite stuff, which is Windows stuff, all the time, and I'm like, oh, this would be great, but it's not real, so stop doing this to me.
Right.
So when I look at this, it does make a lot of sense. So it does, and what I mean by that is one of the more unique features about the Apple Watch that is coming out is the UI design. These circles that almost rotate on a sphere when you're scrolling through the apps on the face of the watch, right? There is this crown, is what they call it, on the watch, and it allows you to, kind of scroll through the different applications on the watch, and then how you're able to position those applications. You can actually use your Apple iPhone to drag applications around and kind of, I would call it pin applications, but I'm just used to that terminology from the Windows side. But you
Right.
would move around and customize the screen using your iPhone. But what's kind of cool about this, if you look at the article, is you can set notifications for all sorts of things, and you can have a lot of integration. You can also turn off a lot. That was kind of interesting too. I mean, Apple and different stuff like that is known for having a lot of functions that are just on, right? But in this, it allows you to turn a lot of stuff off, and that's kind of interesting to me. Kevin and I were looking at a data graph yesterday about the age, the usage, and how fitness and smartwatches, the different people who use and the different income levels of those people who use those devices. And it was really interesting to see. I mean, wouldn't you agree that that was kind of an interesting chart?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, and everybody, if you don't know that I love graphs and stuff like that, man, I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know I love that stuff. So if
Yeah,
you have
you're
cool
a
graphs,
modern day Ross Perot.
yeah, I am. I really am, with the big ears and everything. So having said that, it's really interesting to see the new UI in this manner, and the fact that there are so many things and features that you can turn off and on. And I think the mainstream consumers aren't really going to take it full advantage of what this watch is actually going to be able to do. But I do think that people who are into whatever it is, be it smartwatch or be it fitness tracker, are actually going to get a lot out of this particular device. Well, what are your thoughts on this story?
I mean, it's hard to believe that they announced Apple Watch back in September.
Yeah,
Now,
man,
here
was it
we
that long
are.
ago? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So here we are nearly 4 months later, and it's looking like it's going to be available in March. That's what, random sources typically seem to be leaning towards would be March. So,
Right,
we're only about 2 months out.
right,
And, we've talked about Apple Watch before. It's expensive, but, obviously, most Apple products tend to, go on the high side because, well, they're more premium. There's no arguing that Apple creates wonderful, beautiful, solid hardware. There's
right,
no denying that.
right.
So I'm actually looking forward to checking these Apple Watches out when they come out,
Yep.
and just looking through some of these little screenshots on the 9to5mac.com post on this.
You see
You-
what I'm saying about how easy it is to make mock-ups of that? I mean, because they're
oh
really basic.
yeah, I mean it's very simple because I mean the Apple design for iOS is pretty simple
Yeah, it's
actually.
pretty
It's
minimalistic. Yeah.
yeah, it's not complicated. And then of course the phone's ringing, but
How dare you, Kevin? How
from
dare
that
you?
from strange numbers always.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do we? Let's see. Well, you're up next. Go ahead.
All right. So the next thing that I would like to discuss, let me see. Yeah, I
Getting
think you
back to
had
our show notes.
yeah you had more stories here this week, but I'm going to talk about first Call of Duty Advanced Warfare downloadable content pack is coming to the Xbox 360 and Xbox One on January 27th. So for all you gamers out there that's big Call of Duty players, the first download content is coming. It's called Havoc, and it will debut on January 27th, as mentioned, and it will be available for $14.99 on its own. But if you're a member of the game season pass, for $50, you get all four, which is slightly a slight discount. You save $10 if you go that route.
Right.
So you're getting four new multiplayer maps called Core, Urban, Sideshow, and Drift. Drift is a ski resort in the Rocky Mountains. Sideshow is in the shadow of Devil's Tower, Wyoming. Urban is in Dallas Ward 3. And Core is being deployed to the
That's
Gobi
specific.
Desert. Yeah.
Those are really specific. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll also get a new weapon, the AE4, which is a directed energy assault rifle, along with its custom weapon variant, the AE4 Widowmaker. And the downloadable content pack will also contain the first chapter of Exo Zombies, a new co-op mode where players have to contend with the undead wearing exoskeleton suits. Players can control the four characters who have the right to fight off the Exo Zombies, which have the likenesses and voices of actors John Malkovich, Bill Paxton, Rose McGowan, and John Bernthal. So be on the
Nice.
look for that. Be on the lookout for that. That's less than 2 weeks away.
Nice. Very nice. Um, you know what screenshot of a game that looks really interesting is the Alien Isolation. That looks pretty amazing. Have you heard of that game?
No, because I never really, unfortunately, followed the Alien series. I
Kevin,
know.
you break
So
my heart. Yeah, you break my heart,
this is
dude.
a big rock I grew up under. Okay,
Okay, so Alien and Predator movies, dude, I love those movies, man.
eat it up.
I do. But I watched all of them as a kid. I mean, I just over and over and over again. Um, so I was looking at screenshots of that because there's a DLC pack for that too, and that looked really neat. Um, the next story that I want to talk about is honestly, finally, Microsoft is doing well when it comes to getting big mainstream app announcements on their devices. Let's talk about PayPal for now. Dude, PayPal, awesome service. One of the most secure and ubiquitous online payment options is bringing a point of sale device to the Surface Pro 3 line that plugs into the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the phone. A lot of you who know Square, it's that little square that plugs into the top of your iPhone or Android device. Well, now it's PayPal is hitting back with their Here option. It's HERE. That's that name is synonymous with a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's neither here nor there. And
Ah, nice pun.
the SDK the SDK for PayPal on this particular device is coming to Windows. That to me, flipping awesome, man. It is. It's really really cool and exciting to see. We several news outlets had this, so but I credited The Verge with this. So this is really cool because we see this idea of and I wanted to talk about another story on Monday, but I didn't get a chance to. Was Panasonic came out with a point of sale machine, a credit card reader, and NFC like Apple Pay that was based on Windows 8.1. And we see these devices that are coming out with the 9-inch or under form factor that have essentially Microsoft's Windows with Bing on it, and it's for free licensing. Well, it's $0, so it's essentially for free. But we're seeing what the future may hold and how Microsoft with Windows plans on competing in this point of sale market, right? So we could see these Surface devices or things that don't cost as much as one of our user group forum mentioned. One of our user groups that we're a part of, Mike had mentioned, hey, somebody could get something like a Toshiba, for like under $100 plus one of these card readers, and then the next thing you know, you got one of these and a Windows phone, and you got a point of sale, all-in-one, awesome way to do business, and that's that for really cheap. So that's really where I could see Windows picking up in the business side of things, right? So this is really interesting to me on several different levels. Be on the lookout for more of this stuff coming out, and I think that this is going to usher in a lot more use case scenarios for the Microsoft ecosystem and making money at the point of sale. So when people go to conventions or when people go to I want
just
to
little
like
festivals. I mean,
yeah, I was thinking about Renaissance festivals, thanks, or Comic Cons and stuff. Like when I go, I was seeing the Square for a little while, and now I can see PayPal stuff. So that's pretty cool.
right. I mean, the PayPal here, the card reader has been available for a while, but just seeing this, this partnership with Microsoft and PayPal and Lumia, and to be able to do that, make it a complete kind of point of sale experience is nice because they're going to be adding support for the EMV credit and debit cards
Hmm.
as technology, which for people that don't know, it relies on a PIN for authentication. Rather than a
Blooper
right, and rolls out
reel.
across the United States.
Blooper reel.
I
Well,
mean,
speak.
you go into
Go ahead.
coffee shops and you'll see a lot of these Square setups. I mean, they've really done some nice things Square has with various equipment, but it's not cheap. But for business owners that already have a Microsoft Surface Pro 3, you've already got existing equipment. You just need this new PayPal here reader, and you will be on your way.
Nice. So speaking of entertainment, Kevin, tell us a little bit about Age of Ultron. What did you think?
Yeah, for people that follow, the Avengers, the first one was just phenomenal. It was an amazing movie, and can still watch it today and still enjoy it. Well, obviously the sequel is coming out in May called Age of Ultron, and there's just a lot of action. Thankfully, Michael Bay is nowhere near this thing.
Ha! Nice.
And
Now we should mention I didn't even know this, but the Razzies, that is hilarious. Like the
oh
worst
yeah,
actors, those that's funny.
yes it is. So the new Age of Ultron trailer has released, I believe, within yesterday or the day before, and it looks pretty cool seeing Iron Man in his, much larger suit fighting against Hulk in, downtown somewhere, whatever city they're in. It just looks like there's going to be a lot of interesting storylines and twists and stuff moving forward with this. So really looking forward to it. It's going to be one of those midnight release things that you just got to go see as soon as possible.
Yep, it's awesome. Frankly, I mean, these are the kind of movies that are going to get people to still go to the movies for. Other movies are just going to be like, why even bother going? Unless it's unless it's a spectacle, right? Unless it's like an experience.
Yes.
Otherwise, those other movies you can just catch. Now, I'm not advocating either way. I'm just saying what my habits are going to be going forward. Not only that is I don't have any money, so I have to limit the amount of money that I spend out. But there was something that literally just popped into my head, and it's only because I'm looking at it on Twitter, because they reached out to me. A local-based, kind of bluesy, uh, pretty awesome band. They're like a rock symphony type thing, but it's really neat. Go check them out on Twitter at Mystery Loves Co. And they hit me up and I retweeted their stuff, and they have a link that I retweeted. So if you follow me at JJ Hammond Music, you can see in my tweets and scroll down and find that. But really cool. Neat little local thing, and I like promoting that sort of stuff.
All right.
The other thing that you have on the list was
Yeah, I've got
Avatar.
one. Yeah, I've got one more movie-related bit of news, and it's from the Associated Press. It says James Cameron has said that the Avatar sequel has been delayed until late 2017.
That's
So,
weird.
right. He said Wednesday that writing three Avatar sequels is such a complex job. He's delaying the first new film a year, and it will now be released in late 2017.
Hmm.
The first had been due, obviously, late 2016, but the writing process had proved to be very involved, and that the initial target date was just too ambitious.
Well, that's good because I mean, honestly, take Transformers for example. Awesome visual, not so awesome story. I mean,
Right.
the story just God, Michael Bay, stop doing that to me. Um, there's a way to make these things awesome. I mean, we see that with storytellers like Christopher Nolan and other awesome movies like the Avengers, for example.
Right.
So when you look at these other movies like Avatar, I thought the first one was awesome. I mean, some people are just frankly just sick of it. They don't even want to hear the word Avatar because they're just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like a panic attacks. Like I never want to see this movie again because like it reruns all the time. But honestly, the story was great. I thought, and I thought the visuals were perfect. So if he needs to take some more time to make sure that story is good, awesome.
Right. I mean, when you factor in that the original Avatar came out in 2009,
That's insane.
yeah, it's like I mean, 6 years ago.
That's
And
crazy.
so, so this one's not even supposed to come out for another 2 years. So it's going to be, 8 years between approximately
Hmm.
from original to a sequel. And then he's still intending on directing the other two sequels.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 60 years old right now.
Right.
So he's going to be shooting these things when, he's
Yeah, most people
pushing
are in
that.
the back nine right now shooting some
Right.
golf, but he's out there in the bottom of the ocean or the wherever doing these things. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not like he's doing this for the money, because folks, Titanic, Avatar, I mean, two of the highest grossing movies ever
Ever.
in the history
Yeah.
of film,
Right.
and he's the man behind them.
Right.
So,
Which is kind of cool because that allows him to be a little bit um, fearless with kind of what he wants to do with this sort of
oh
thing,
yeah,
and I
he
think
he
that
can
that's
do
a
what
good
he wants to do.
and I think that usually provides some pretty good stories. I mean,
Right.
yeah. I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan, so and I think above all else he's a storyteller than anything else. And I like movies that have awesome storylines. I mean, it could be horrendous, on the front end, but if it's a good back end story, it's gorgeous. Um, so the next thing that we have that actually is not on the list would be my other show pick. I'd like for people to go check out Justified. That show is freaking awesome.
Right. Wrapping up well, I mean, they just started their, what, fifth and
Fi-
final season?
Yeah, their final season. Yeah.
Yeah. So Timothy Olyphant from Deadwood, if people that remember Deadwood from HBO, he is, the lead actor in this film TV show as well. It's a wonderful show. Wonderful show, both of them.
Yeah. Application. There was actually an application that I wanted to talk to you guys about. This one is for, I believe, Windows Phone only, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to double check on that. But as for right now, per this conversation, um, I uh, I saw it, and it's a social app. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? This is going to bother me. Our good buddy Glenn over at Dangerously Smart Podcast had this out. Here we go. Microsoft launches a Windows Phone app called Citizen Journalists. This is a pretty cool app, man. It's called Social News Beta. I'll take the. I'm gonna copy this and put this in the show notes right now. Oh, that didn't work. Anyways, I'll put it in the show notes. Regardless, it's just a way for people to provide citizen journalism, and it's a kind of a way to get around this kind of corporate attitude that a lot of major news outlets have. And yeah, that's going to provide for some really weird stories and stuff. But I think all in all, it's going to be a pretty cool application to hopefully go on to other ecosystems and stuff. So, Kevin, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, man? I feel like I'm tapped.
Now, just real quick. I mean, I don't know if anybody's been playing Angry Birds Transformers. There's going to be another big update coming out from Rovio about the Deceptihog's revenge. Thanks to their teamwork with the Autobirds, the Deceptihogs have finally gotten the egg spark
Nice.
in their grasp. However, the Eggbots are still on the loose and they're attacking Pig City. Autobirds roll out. This latest update will introduce Pig City as a new playable area with all new levels full of pig blasting action. Also, players can now intercept Eggbots as they are transforming Piggy Island and engage them in running combat. Look for this and more in Angry Birds Transformers Deceptihog's Revenge, now available for iOS and Android devices.
Cool.
So grab that if you're, still have that installed on your smartphone. And then one last thing that I wanted to talk about that, it always catches my eye when I see people that create these, they take a regular video game console and make it into a portable, game playing station. For example, The Verge has an article about what a combined Xbox One and PlayStation 4 laptop looks like. So it's called like the Play 4 Box One. So let's see, serial tinkerer Eddie Zarek that combines both consoles into a laptop form factor kitted out with a 1080p 22-inch screen. Now, he has previously turned both the Xbox One and PS4 into individual laptops, as well as created what he calls the Xbook Duo, which is a unit containing both the Xbox 360 and Xbox One consoles. The Playbox is apparently what he is calling this, meanwhile houses the PS4 on the left side and the Xbox One on the right, and both consoles are powered by the same cord, although they cannot be turned on simultaneously for fear of overheating, which that's kind of a no-brainer. While a switch on the back is used to change from one to the other.
Nice.
So he's not selling any of these play boxes at the moment, but this prototype, which we'll link to in the show notes, was built for a custom order. But his regular Xbook ones sell for $1,500, while the Playbook 4s go for $1,400. And you can get them even cheaper if customers supply your own console. So if you're looking for more details on how Zarek put his creations together, you can watch the how-to video for the Xbook Duo or just check out the Playbox in more detail on this Verge article.
Neat.
That's pretty cool. I mean, who would not want to be able to take that just anywhere? And anywhere you've got power, boom, you can play.
That'd be wonderful. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
All right, I want to say just real quick one last story. I want to let everybody know that I am gonna learn more about drones because I think they're cool, and I'm gonna learn more about putting things together yourself, like kind of do-it-yourself stuff. and we're going to talk about that a little bit more on Friday. Kevin and I were talking about it before the show, and we think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, one thing that has completely caught my eye that I just want to let everybody know I'm totally flip flopping on. At first, I'm like Project Aura, Google's Project Aura is stupid, and then I saw like a whole bunch of stuff. Now, and a story came out today, which I have linked in the show notes. Their Google's modular phone project is going to begin their pilot testing in Puerto Rico. And looking at how far they have come with this particular design setup, dude, this is pretty cool. I mean, just think, you could build your own phone, and whenever
Definitely.
you're ready to get something new, you can just slide out a piece and slide in a piece. I mean,
Yep.
that's hot, dude.
Right.
I'm sorry, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yep. To be able to upgrade your camera just by swapping out one block, one unit, or upgrade your CPU, it is pretty neat.
That's neat. That's
It's an
neat.
interesting idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, just think about combining the cloud, like you know how you back up your phone to the cloud, like your whatever, like your user settings and stuff, and then you slide out the the brain, if you will, like the ROM, and then you put something that's boom in, and then you put the a new RAM card in, and then you sync down from the cloud your settings and stuff, and it's just like boom, boom, boom. This is pretty neat. I mean, this is pretty neat. I mean, I like this idea. So I hope it takes off because I like it.
Yeah. I mean, if it does take off, and as long as the individual pieces are, you know, relatively affordable price wise, that makes
Sure.
sense price wise,
Yeah.
I think could be really cool.
Yeah. At the very least, fun to play. Like fun just to mess around with. Um, like how many times can I slide off the camera and slide it back on before it doesn't work anymore? No.
Exactly.
I don't know. I like messing with stuff like that. But I mean, in this mock-up on the link that we have in the show notes, you see, a Wi-Fi module. You see an antenna module, battery. The display, the different modems that it has on there. The camera. So you can imagine being able to have again, just an easy way to say if your battery runs out, have another module and slide in another battery, instead of opening up the back and having a whole to-do thing. So there's a lot of possibilities here.
Hmm.
So I'm going to now get more into this and kind of follow this story as it goes because I have a feeling that people that listen to this show like the Firefox OS stuff and like Linux stuff and probably like a lot of the do-it-yourself stuff and I think I think we should talk more about that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna start jumping into those areas and reading more about them.
All right, all right. And I believe that pretty much wraps things up for today. As mentioned before, we will see you again on Friday for episode 20. But in the meantime, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you have any stories that you would like us to talk about on the show, email them to contact@thetechinformist.com or shoot them to us over on Twitter @techinformist. Facebook, go to facebook.com/techinformist or the Techinformist. I can't remember. Once you see our logo, you'll know you're at the right spot. Like our page, catch us on Google Plus as well. So, for anything else you wanted to throw out there, JJ, before we completely wrap this thing up?
No, sir. Wonderful
All
job
right.
again, as always.
All right. So, again, from everybody involved with the Tech Informist, thank you, everybody, for listening and following us. Consider yourself informed. We are out.